Hi guys, it's Ben here from T-Rex Space Station. How's everyone doing? Now today I'm going to be talking about my collection of Game Boys. Now this is my original Game Boy that I got back in the day when I was a kid, and this was a system that I really adored. I spent an awful lot of time as a youngster playing on this, particularly in the summer holidays when I was around at my grandma's house. And the system as a whole has been one that I've just very highly placed in terms of my favourite systems ever. And I didn't really play it very much though in recent years, and the reason for that was because the original Game Boy screen was really very difficult to see. You had to get the lighting just right. If it was too dark or too bright, you wouldn't really be able to see anything. And it was a shame that, a system that I love, I was barely playing for that reason. And so in the last year or so, I've been getting into modding my Game Boys quite a bit. In particular, doing backlit and bivert mods. And that's kind of made me fall in love with the system all over again. There are various different backlights that you can choose, and some of them are more dramatic and more pronounced than others. For this system, I actually went for a slightly more subtle backlight in an effort to preserve some of the original colour palette and appearance of the original Game Boy. Now, I will post a link in the description below to the websites you can go to have a look at ordering some Game Boy mods yourselves. And I used pretty much mostly Deadpan Robot, which is a really good website. So let's show you just how this one looks. This is a biverted and backlit Game Boy. And this is using the olive green backlight, which hopefully you can see it reasonably well. It makes it, yes, it is much easier to see, but it's not a huge improvement when you compare it to, say, some of the other backlight colours. But to me, this is one of my favourite backlight colours because, to me, Game Boy games are kind of supposed to look green, That was how they looked as a child. And this kind of green that you get from the olive backlight is just about right. It's not too much. Some of them are really green, like vividly green, and I can't actually play this because I'm looking through the viewfinder, but this is R-Type obviously. To me this is a great one because it's kind of subtle, but it does have a big improvement in terms of what you can see, and makes it much more playable. And it's not that hard to install the backlights. So this is still one of my favourite Game Boys, and it's probably the one that I will play the most. When you've modded it, it does feel a little bit chunkier. It's not quite as lightweight perhaps as the original systems, but nevertheless absolutely beautiful, and I adore this Game Boy so much. Now, I did have an old original grey Game Boy which was very boring, and I wanted to use that to experiment with what I could create. So this is an example of a complete monster hybrid Game Boy. Using basically completely custom case and screen and buttons, all ordered from Deadpan Robot. So the actual circuits inside and everything and the actual screen were all taken from an old grey Game Boy. But I figured, well, I've got one that's relatively preserved in terms of how it was originally. I wanted to have one that was a bit of a mutant and that looked completely cool and very different. Now, what I would say about this, the custom buttons that you can order, they don't feel exactly the same as the original Game Boy ones. They feel a little bit different, but in my opinion, they're still pretty decent. But I just love the look of this see-through green. You can see the circuits underneath. Now, this has got a different backlight because this is the white backlight. They call it a white backlight, but actually, you'll see in a minute, the way the games actually look is more blue. Who'd have thought that the actual games were rendered blue looking? I'm going to need to swap the batteries over to show you this one, so let's just take that off. The fun thing about Deadpan Robot basically is that you can select and choose and pick whatever kinds of crazy color combinations you want. They can pretty much accommodate it. And if you are going to do that, I would highly recommend getting yourself a proper glass screen protector, because the original Game Boy screens get scratched up pretty damn easy, and the glass ones just give you that extra element of protection. So let's just put that together. And this one is one that I love taking on train journeys and things, and if I'm going to play the Game Boy for a long time, I would probably go with this one, because as you can see, it's super, super bright. I hope that you can actually see something there. I'm going to just adjust the contrast a touch, not that way. It looks a bit bluey, and it may not come across perfectly for you guys, but yeah, to my eye here, this looks fantastic. It's incredibly vivid, and yeah, I think it makes the games just look very vibrant, very catching. You can see that the actual level of colour intensity or brightness intensity is much, much higher than on the original Game Boy. So it's kind of like, I've got two choices there: slightly more realistic experience, or the more crazy but probably slightly more enhanced experience in terms of what you can see. So I'm really pleased with this one because it's a colour scheme and a concoction that I made myself, and that's quite a nice feeling. So those are my original Game Boys. I do have a Game Boy Color somewhere, but I've not used that for ages, I don't even know where it is. But let's go on to systems that I've actually only very recently started getting into. These are the Game Boy Pockets. You don't see very many people who have these, but they're actually really nice systems, and they're incredibly small. You can fit these into your pocket, as it says on the tin. And you know, sometimes you don't always want to be taking a big dock-off Game Boy. If you compare the sizes of them, you know, there's quite a big difference there. I think the screen size is actually slightly bigger on the pocket. But there are some major differences with this. Now, the first thing to say is the screens in the pockets are better. They're clearer. They look better than original Game Boys. But the thing that I didn't realise is that they take AAA batteries. And so for that reason, they go through batteries quite a lot quicker, and they don't really have a great battery life. Now, I don't think that these need to be biverted. I think that if you backlight one, that is enough, and I'm going to show you that now. So this is my red Game Boy Pocket. It's got batteries in there, got Sagaya, and this is backlit only, but it's not biverted. And I think you get this really nice looking, the graphics on these are grey. So you've got rid of that kind of blueness, but you've got a really clear screen. It feels very nice, it responds very well, and it's great. It's a shame that it's not quite got the battery life that you might want. It'd be fantastic if someone came up with a mod that was easy to make them rechargeable. But I do find myself playing this one from time to time because it's great to take with you. If you're going somewhere, just grab it, put it in your pocket. And yeah, I think it looks very, very good. I think the bivert chip on these smaller systems is very difficult to install. It's a bit fiddly. So I just thought, you know what, I don't think you need it. I think it looks genuinely good enough as it is, and you, well, probably might agree. I will just do a comparison with the original Pocket. I'm going to have to change the batteries over because I sure as hell don't have any extra AAAs. How often do you buy AAAs? It's like pretty much never. I'll probably buy myself some rechargeable AAAs actually. Oh, the little fiddly little buggers, aren't they? These small batteries. Right. I was not particularly impressed with... Oh. Nah. I've not got a cartridge in. Ah, actually, I think I've backlit this one as well. I forgot. I've modded all of them, so you're not actually going to be able to see how the original one looks. Must have done that in my sleep or something. This one doesn't look happy. Maybe this is one that I actually tried to backlight and roasted. This might be a dead one. Yeah, I think probably... Actually, I remember now. This was one that I got and roasted by mistake when I was trying to install a bivert mod because it's very difficult. So yeah, that's a word of warning there. You can easily kill them. I completely forgot that I'd done that. But anyway, you can see that the actual backlight is enough, and I think that this is actually a really lovely little system as well. So there you have it, my Game Boy collection. 2 originals, 2 pockets, one of which I've managed to toast and completely forgot about that. And also my Game Boy Color, which is somewhere, which I believe may be possible to mod with the Benven thingy, but I've not got around to doing that yet. But well worth having a look, guys, and check out Deadpan Robot. Take care, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.